So there's a reason why 99% of our founders end up quitting and billionaires always win. And it has everything to do with how they manage their mind and not with their talent, IQ, work ethic, or anything like that. Because at the highest echelons of business, everybody works hard, is talented, and has a high IQ. So what's the difference? The difference is how well they can manage their mind, specifically how well they can deal with their automatic thoughts and emotions that come from their mental programming. And this video is about a skill that I call mental transmutation that I guarantee is gonna make a huge difference in your life and career. This is the type of thing the business school do not teach, but really has the key of the success you're chasing. And how would I know? Well, because you know me, I've been investing and coaching entrepreneurs for more than 7 years at this point, and I've noticed how those that are able to deal effectively with their own programming and over time change it are those that have the best results. And those that only rely on hustling and grinding and pushing and buying a course after course after course on sales and marketing to grow their business, they typically end up never growing that business. The real growth is always internal. Specifically, is how well you can manage your own mind. And here I want to discuss the difference that I see between what I call untrained entrepreneurs, average founders, those that never take the time to really master their own performance, and elite founders. And everything hinges on understanding a core idea. Without this idea, nothing will stick. As soon as you internalize this idea, everything will change. And the idea is that you are not your thoughts and your emotions. The thoughts and the emotions that pop into your mind are product of your subconscious programming, which has been programmed throughout your life based on the experiences that you have been going through. So if you go through life and you like something, then you program yourself to like it more over time, and you seek it and you equate that to pleasure and you try to do more of that thing. But if you go through life and you experience some sort of pain that you see no point in, like for instance, you get bit by a dog, that becomes something to avoid in the future. And as you move throughout life, you have, things that bring you joy and pleasure, things that bring you pain. And you are trying to build your business and you experience setbacks, things that do not go the way you want them to go. When you try things to the best of your ability and they just don't work. Well, how you handle those little setbacks is what's going to drive your future success. So for elite founders, they understand that those thoughts are not themselves. So if they hit a setback, they feel bad about what just happened. That doesn't mean they suck. That doesn't mean they're bad. That doesn't mean that this is undeniable proof that they're not cut out for this, which is what an untrained founder will think. They will think that those thoughts that they're not good enough are actually true. They believe those thoughts, and that creates a major havoc, emotional turmoil that takes a few days to clear typically. So the elite founder will automatically assume that even if they botched a presentation, even if that marketing campaign bombed, they still can learn from it. And they will ask themselves, how is this useful? How can I learn from what just happened? What is this thought and this emotion telling me about my performance, and how can I get better at it? In fact, the core question here is, what is the pattern? Maybe, for instance, in this specific example, you've been sending a lot of marketing emails and none of them have been actually hitting. Well, there is a pattern of you botching those email marketing sending. What does that mean? It means that you're probably not good enough at email marketing. And that is totally okay, because you can train yourself to be better. That is how an elite founder typically would react. So those setbacks, those situations that typically suck, because they always suck, it takes 1 minute literally to recover from that thing. So if I'm bad at email marketing and I have a consistent pattern of sending emails that don't get replies, then what would that mean? It means that I need to learn email marketing. And you're in this constant upward motion of things going towards becoming better over time. Now, what is the alternative? What most people end up resorting to because they haven't taken the time to train their minds, well, they believe that every thought that pops into their mind is true, and the information that it holds is true. So if they feel bad about themselves, that's because they're shit. if they feel bad about the situations because the situation is, the world is coming after them. In essence, they go into a victim role that prevents them from being as effective in business as they could. So instead of asking, all right, so is this thought useful? They start having crazy thoughts about, am I good enough? Am I cut out for this? Should I just do this? Should I just do something else? Should I just try a different business that is easier? Whatever those thoughts that you and I both know, they are not useful, which leads to trying to avoid the situation in the future instead of seeing it as an opportunity for improvement. So instead of saying, all right, what's the pattern? How can I get better? They start avoiding sending emails, avoiding delivering public speeches, avoiding doing the things that bring them emotional pain because they don't know how to deal with that emotional pain. So those setbacks that come from mistakes, they take days to recover. They try something, doesn't work, it's undeniable proof, they're not good enough for this, and then they take days to actually try it again. And this is why they get stuck. And I read a lot of biographies, and pretty much in every biography or autobiography of an elite founder or people like Arnold Schwarzenegger, they always allude to a variation of what I call mental transmutation. Michael Dell, for instance, calls it compartmentalization, the ability to compartmentalize their mind. If they're having a terrible day at work, they get home and they're able to be present and joyful with their kids without having the emotional baggage from work affect their present moment with their kids. Ray Dalio from Bridgewater Associates, he calls it radical acceptance. It's accepting radically that whatever happens is good, is the best option for him at that moment. And he has to learn from that situation instead of dwelling in the emotional pain that may come from things not going the way they want it to go. Sarah Blakely from Spanx, she always talks about befriending failure, how the ability to deal with failure and actually be great with her messing up so she can improve is one of the key differentiators that allow her to really scale Spanx to $1 billion level. So mental transmutation is the ability to consistently change your mental defaults to get the best outcome in any situation. This is the prototypical either I win or I learn, and transforming every failure into a learning opportunity is what mental transmutation is all about. And the difference really is very, very profound in business because it is the thing that allows you to scale to the level you want. I've been working with entrepreneurs, as I said, for more than 7 years at this point. I've seen it all, right? But let's assume that we're talking about a guy who is here at 0K a month and wants to get to 100K a month. The prototypical untrained entrepreneur will start buying sales or marketing courses and doing all the things that the gurus tell them. But then as soon as they hit an obstacle, they would not know how to handle that. And they will start looking at different things, different business models. Maybe they're not good enough for this. Then they realize that they need to try again and they will try to go back. And over time, they have this crazy emotional roller coaster trying to get to 100K a month. They're making progress, right? They're able to make progress, but it is painful because at every step of the way, they are consistently battling against their own inability to manage their mental state in a way that is productive. Every time they mess up, and entrepreneurship literally is victory in the face of unsurmountable setbacks every single day, they are tempted and fall for the temptation of feeling bad about themselves, or thinking that this is not worth it, doing all sorts of things until at some point they quit. They decide this is just not worth it. So they either go back to a job or they change their business model yet again, right? Some of them will eventually get to 100K a month, like less than 4%, but it will have taken a lot of time, like literally a lot of time, right? Let's say 5 years is the average for a business to get to 100K a month, which is roughly accurate. Now, what is the alternative? Well, the alternative is being an elite founder. It is taking as much time to master your mind, as you do to master your craft, to master your business. It's consistent look at getting better at managing your thoughts and your emotions in business, because that is the key differentiator. So you also start here at 0K a month, and then you're hit by a problem that you still don't know how to manage, and then you deviate, but then you realize that those thoughts and your emotions are just not useful, and then you go back at it, but then you overcorrect. But over time, you start really being very, very precise in everything that you do. You don't fall for the trap of the mind. You don't fall for emotional decision making. You don't take more than a day to recover from a bad business fuck up. And over time, you get to 100K months. The fastest that I've seen is 7 months, one of my clients. But the average for our clients is about 12 to 15 months. That's typical, right? Which is 5 times faster than average. But how do we do it? Well, it's not magic, guys. It's just a matter of training your mind. It's a matter of understanding that elite athletes devote as much time to training their minds as they do to train their sport.
No matter how far you think you're ahead of me, I'm gonna catch you. That's our mentality that I go there. I'm never scared of anything, never scared of anyone. It's all about business when I go out there.
The key differentiator is always the mind. It's not how technical skill you are. So this is the core skill that 99% of founders end up never really building, and therefore they end up quitting. And this is why billionaires always win, because they have typically access to the best coaches, and they learn this either the hard way or the fast way with great help from them. Now, what is mental transmutation? Well, mental transmutation is the ability to transform every single thing that happens to you into undeniable proof that you are indeed qualified to do what you do. So remember that you first start with a thought. You first have a thought. This thought is automatic. You don't choose your thoughts, even if you think you can. If I tell you think about an elephant, there's one type of elephant that comes to your mind, typically the last elephant you saw in a picture or whatever, right? So you don't really choose your thoughts. So thoughts come first. You're hit by a thought, and then this prompts a question. If the thought, you may have a negative thought, or you may have a positive thought. If the thought is negative, typically what the elite founder will do is ask, why? And try to uncover the reason in the mental programming. Why is he having a negative thought? And then typically is, what can I do about it? The average entrepreneur will believe it. Believe the thought. And automatically have an impulsive reaction. So for instance, if you are not willing to give that speech and you have those negative thoughts, I don't want to do it, it's just not for me, why would I need to go through this again, whatever? Well, if you are untrained in performance, you will believe the thought that you're really not trained for that. And this is really not for you. And you take the impulsive reaction of just not delivering the speech because that's just not for you. The opposite is ask why. Why am I feeling that way about delivering that speech? You may find that is because you don't want to feel rejected because you had a bad presentation in the past that still stings. Well, that's good. What can we do about it? Well, we could refrain from giving speeches altogether, which is probably not sensible, or we could just get some training on how to become better at this skill. If we get training, the more we train, the less emotional negative reaction we'll have from our programming. So we reprogram our minds to consistently get better at training. And then we will never have negative thoughts anymore about delivering a speech, right? So this is the elite founder way, And the average founder way is falling for the trap of the thought. Positive thoughts are typically accepted automatically by both elite and untrained founders because they're positive. They're not a risk. They're not interpreted as some sort of danger by the subconscious mind. So mental transmutation is the ability to consistently refrain from automatic reactions and ask why at each step of the way. Consistently do the mental exercise to not fall for the trap of your automatic thinking and instead choose the best thoughts. This is the core skill that really matters most in business. It's not how much marketing you know, how much work ethic you have, or your leadership skills. Those are important, don't get me wrong, but it's always about transmuting every thought into an opportunity for growth. This is what Carol Dweck, which is Stanford, I believe, Carol Dweck research on the growth mindset. Growth mindset, she said that those people that turn everything that happens to them into an opportunity for growth have a growth mindset. And it all hinges on mental transmutation, on changing the meaning of the thought to something that is adaptive. Mental transmutation really is how Navy SEALs called this. This is a Navy SEAL skill that is very useful when you are in a combat zone without much sleep, without much food, and you have to carry out orders under huge uncertainty, right? What you are in that situation, you're typically plagued with a lot of negative thoughts about everything that can go wrong. So you have to be very good at transmuting everything into a positive response, into an adaptive response. So there you have it. This is mental transmutation. This is something we help our clients with. If you want to learn how to do this and really get to 100K a month as fast as humanly possible, I would recommend that you apply for our Performance Institute. But in any case, this is really the thing that is going to make you successful. It's not how hard you work, it's how fast you can process automatic thoughts and emotions into a positive response that helps you move forward faster. See you in the next video.